What's up, guys? So today we're going to be installing the Baja Design Squadron Pro. So we just got them today. FedEx dropped them off, so I haven't even opened them yet. Well, I've opened one of them, but not all of them. So it's going to be pretty exciting. Going to get some better lighting on the cruiser here. So we'll show you what we got. So first time opening this one. So we've got the Squadron Pros right here. So we've got 2 spots, and then the other one are the driving combo. So we're gonna end up having 4 total, and then we have 2 S1 reverse lights for the rear. So these are gonna look the same as this box right here. Got a cool sticker in here, Baja Designs. Gonna throw it on the toolbox. So right here, it looks like the driving combo. As you can see, you got the different lenses here, and then we got the wiring harness in the back. But already can tell super high build quality on these lights. And then right here we got the smaller, so S1. So we got the work light lens for these. So it's gonna be great for a reverse, or if you're at the camp and need better lighting to work on something or whatnot. So super excited to get these on. So we're gonna be putting them all on today. I got some amber covers. I don't know, I just thought they were cool. Maybe not worth the extra 20 bucks, but we'll see. And then obviously we got a pretty crazy wiring harness here. Unlike most, I actually love electrical wiring, so we'll see what kind of cool stuff we can do with this. Got some ideas. Gonna use a factory Toyota fog light switch instead of this kind of generic switch that they have on here. So super excited. We're gonna see what it can do. I already got some LED headlights in the truck. So once we add these, we're gonna light up the sky. So we should be ready for anything that out west will throw at us. So we're gonna do Black Bear and some other kind of gnarly trails out in Colorado. Maybe do them at night, so gotta have that lighting. So without further ado, let's get after it. All right, guys, so as you can see, I already got the spot mounts on because I'm gonna put the spotlights on the inside and then the floods on the outside. So due to having the winch solenoid that's mounted on the SLE short bus bumper, we just used the stock or the regular SLE bolts. I kept the washers in between here. Maybe I'll take them out just for aesthetics, but all we did was just use that same size bolt, fits right in through the holes, and then mounts right back up, tightens up the solenoid, and we'll be able to run these lights. For this one, it's very simple. So all you're gonna do is just take this, take your bolt, take a washer, all right, run it through the hole, okay. And then put that on top. And then you're gonna take another washer, put it on the bottom. And these don't require Loctite due to the fact that there's a lock nut instead of just a regular nut. So really no need to Loctite them since you do already have a lock nut. And then it's just as simple as tightening down a bolt. Good to go. So now we'll go do the other side. It's gonna be exactly the same, so I'm not gonna bore you with that. And then next we'll move on to actually mounting the lights on. All right, guys, so we already put these on. Wanted to put them on before I did these, so that way I didn't screw anything up and I'd have a good video for you. So now we're gonna move on to the driving combo lights. Should be pretty simple. We're just gonna mount them up and get them kind of situated where we want, and then do a test run with the wiring before we actually route it. So let's get going and get them on there. 4 of them on, all positioned exactly where they want to be. Right now we're going to run the wires to the battery. So we're going to run it up to the battery right through here, kind of similar to the same path as the winch wires. We'll connect it to the battery. Do not have a fuse box just due to the fact that these are really the only accessories I have that run off power. So they already have built-in fuses based off the relay, and they have the relay in them, so I don't really have an issue with running them straight to the battery. I'm going to run them off the smaller post, or the smaller bolt on the post on the battery terminal, and I think they'll work great. One thing we are going to do is we are going to use a factory Toyota switch right here instead of the Baja Designs switch that I have no place for in my 80. So we want to keep this as factory in stock as possible. Not gonna lie to you guys, I've already wired it up and already tested it, and it works. So once I actually get it completely done, I'm waiting on 2 more of these switches from Toyota right now. Once we actually get those and we get them in, I'll show you that part of it. But right now, let's go ahead and get this behemoth of a wiring harness routed and all tidied up. And then we'll do a test of the lights and see how they work. But yeah, that's really it. Pretty simple to get these lights mounted. I think they look absolutely killer. They're small, they're sleek. They're good looking lights, and I can tell they're gonna be tough. So I'm excited. Looks absolutely killer. All right guys, so we got it all wired up right here. Gonna do a more professional job in the future with putting these relays somewhere and stashing this behemoth of a cable bundle here. But for the most part, it's fairly clean. So went right up, mounted right up. It's clean down here, so routed it through here, put some of the webbing, the hose protecting webbing on it, and routed it just the same way as my winch wires. So if you stand back, very clean. Can't really see a lot of wires. But then obviously over the top, we've got this big bundle from the winch and everything like that. So it actually comes down through there and then underneath and pops out right out of the headlight socket. So the cables actually run, you can kind of see them right there. And then underneath, kind of get down here. So they actually run right there, and then they run up, and then through the headlight socket right there. So they run right up by that refrigerant piping, refrigerant hosing that runs by the headlight housing. So it's a great place to put the wires. Like I said, I have the winch wires right there, and then it runs up, and looks good, looks clean. Comes up here into the engine bay, and then we'll run the switches along this channel and then through the firewall and then into the cab. I haven't done that part yet. That'll be another day, but let's go ahead and turn them on and see what they look like. What is up guys? So today we're going to be finishing up the Baja Design lights. So we got them all installed yesterday on the front. We're going to do the S1s in the back today for the reverse lights and the camp lights. So just picked these up from Toyota. My boys up at I-95 Toyota, where I get all my parts from. So we've got 4 switches, only need 3 though. Just got an extra one because I thought they were cool and they're only $8. So super cool switch you can use for a lot of different applications. We're going to be using it for our Baja Design lights because, hey, let's face it, 80 series Toyota, we're not going to put generic switches on it. So we're going to go with Toyota fog lights, OEM. It's going to look great. So first thing we need to do is get the S1 lights on the back, get all the wires routed. Debating right now on having them where I can turn them on and when they turn on when I put the car in reverse. So we're gonna use a diode for that so that we don't blow any fuses. That's gonna be probably the direction that I go. And then we need to trim some wires on the wiring harness up front because it's just a big behemoth of a wiring harness and way too long for the length that we need to the battery. So first things first, let's get those S1 lights on the back, and then let's take a look at what the wiring harness is and what it looks like on getting it to the battery and getting it to the reverse lights. But should have it all done today, should have it buttoned up, and yeah, let's get after it. All right guys, so we're gonna put one up top, right up here in this hole. It's gonna sit right above the Yeti cooler or the jerry cans we're running in the jerry can holder. And then we're gonna run one right above the reverse camera. So we're gonna have one down low, one up high, and ultimately gonna give us that good light output up high and down low. Obviously you can face them higher up or face them lower down, or face them down. Based off what area you're trying to cover with the lights. So that's going to be the move. They're both going to come on at the same time and provide that light output whether we're reversing or whether we're at camp. So super excited. They're going to go on exactly the same way as the front ones. So they're going to have the little bracket that's going to mount identical to the front one. So if you watched the first part of the video, there will be no difference between putting these brackets on and putting the front brackets on. It's just going to be in different holes. So let's get after it and let's get going. All right guys, so one issue I can already see we're gonna run into is we're gonna need a bigger washer. This washer is just too small. It's not gonna hold in this hole, so I should have some washers that'll work over in the toolbox. Stole 2 washers off some old bolts I had that actually came off the Toyota, so we'll be using these instead. So we actually stuck with some old Toyota bolts. So I guess you could call it recycling. Hey guys, so we just got back from Ace Hardware, the hidden gem of electrical equipment and hardware. So if you didn't know, Ace Hardware is a great place to get stuff. I'm a big Lowe's guy, as you can see all the Cobalt, but Ace Hardware is my newfound love. So I got to cheat on Lowe's a little bit, but we ran out of zip ties, so we went ahead and just got some more zip ties. So what we got was, we actually got the wire loom, so we're gonna run the reverse light wires externally on the truck instead of running them through the cab. I don't want to put any more wires through the back of the truck, so we're going to run them along the frame rails, and so to protect them we're going to put them in this wire loom all the way up into the engine bay. So just keep me from having to run more wires to the firewall and more wires through the cab of the truck. I'd rather have them external to the truck, and this loom is going to protect them. Additionally, we got some more electrical tape We got some more wire because it turns out the Baja Design's harness is long, but the way that it's configured, it's not going to work with with lights on the back of the truck. So you're going to have to extend those wires. So this is what's going to be running through the wire loom. Is just the simple 18 gauge wire. It's going to be fine for the 1.5 amps that those lights are going to have be pulling. So plenty of rating, high enough rating on this gauge wire. And then last but not least, we got some female disconnects right here that are a little bigger because the Baja Design ones are a little bit smaller than what comes on the factory Toyota switch. So these are gonna work perfectly to match up with this, and then we'll crimp these onto the wires, or to the harness. A little fun fact, actually when I was at Ace, I saw another switch that looked identical to this one. So I measured them, they're the exact same measurement, except that one did not have illumination. So the little orange illumination right here. So it turns out that maybe Ace and Toyota are on the same wavelength, and they're putting out products the same way. So if you don't want to order a Toyota switch and you just need a generic switch with no illumination, Ace is the place. So with that being said, what we're going to do next is we're going to get the wires from the S1 and we're going to run them all the way up to the battery. Once we have completed running all the wires, got them in the loom, got them along the frame, connected to the battery, and then we're going to move on to taking the wires that we do have and everything that's in the battery, cleaning it up, and then running it through the firewall and ultimately connecting it to those switches. So rear lights, wire them up, bring them to the battery. Once that's all done, clean up the battery tray and all the little wires we got going on there, and then run those through the firewall to the factory switches, put them in the dash, and test everything, and that'll be it. So better get started. All right guys, so we're gonna rig up the factory switches here with our Baja Design harnesses. So I went ahead and cut them. So what we're gonna do now is just splice the wires and put these bad boys on there and be good to go. So here we go. So we got it all rigged up. It's gonna end up going actually right here. Let's turn it on and see if it works. Oh, it lit up. Oh, and we got light, perfect. Works great. Let's get it put in. All right guys, so we're on the home stretch now. We got the dash taken apart here, the lower dash, and then this pops right off. So you'll have 4 bolts for the lower part of the dash. And then you just really pop it right out. It pops right out, but be careful with these speakers, which this is probably useless anyways. But, and then this piece right here is a single piece, trim piece. It just pops right out. So we got our factory switches right here. So what we want to do is I want the rear light to be the top one. And then I'm going to use the bottom 2. So I'm going to use the left for the floods, a driving combo, and then the right for the spots. So, I really don't know what orientation I want. Probably the light pointed down for the reverse lights. So you got the little lights pointed down, like an overhead view, something like that. I don't know, something to, my OCD starting to kick in on that, but it really doesn't matter. So we just need to make sure that we feed this through the right way. pieces on this truck because it's so perfect. To be honest with you, I'd hate to break something off. I really would. I am extremely careful when it comes to trim on this truck. You should be too, unless it's just not your thing, but it is definitely my thing. Okay, so before we button everything back up, I want to connect the wires to make sure they work. So I'm going to reach down there and do that real quick. We can probably get this out of the way. It should just kind of tuck everything back up there. Nice and tidy like. Alright guys, so we got it completely wired up. Went in exactly as I wanted it to and expected it to, so everything's buttoned back up. Got the switches in, they all work. We routed the wires underneath, so we'll take a look at kind of what we did here. So if you can see, the wires are coming out of the firewall right here through that grommet. I'll show you on the back side after this, but they just run up, very simple to route. Just kind of sit back here behind the other wire harness that runs from the ECU and out of the way, and you can't see them. So it actually ran perfectly, went right up here, as you can see, to the switches. Very easy to mount, very easy to route. But yeah, everything went in really well. So let's take a look at, in the engine bay, what we did here. So this is butyl rubber right here. You can buy it off Amazon. It works really good for sealing up the truck. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but butyl rubber, so get yourself some. And then, as you can see, it's super clean. So later in the video, I'll show you the exact wire routing, but it's all good to go. So let's get it out of the garage and see what it looks like. Got everything routed. The switches work. They work great. Got the lights up top, the lights down below. Looks absolutely killer. We'll see how this light works with the underneath here, but that's why we have the top one to make up for it, but looks absolutely killer. I'll show you the switches too. All right, so the switches went in great. We use this one for the rear, front. So as you can see, I'm gonna put the truck and show you. So driving along, looks looks almost like factory right here. So perfect 3 slots here. Only down to 1 extra one right here. So hopefully I don't get any more accessories, but you can see it indicates, and works absolutely great. So the way that we routed the wires, I'll show you real quick. So the ones in the back, so I already had some wires routed for the license plate light. Then I also had some other lights on here that I actually took off. But the way we routed it is we just used this one, routed it all the way down, tapped it into the loom right here with this other light, and I actually kept both individual wires. So I kept the ground and the power wire on both all the way up to the battery. I did not want to splice them together. I just, I know that they probably could have handled it, but I wanted to have individual wires for each, so if there was an issue, we would know which one it was coming from. But that's going to run down through here. It's actually going to come down. They're all in the same loom right here. That's tucked right here, run right here, and then I split them all up. So we have some that go in the cab. So this is my reverse camera and my reverse light that goes up in there. And then we have another wire that taps in right here. This is for the reverse camera, but what I did was I put a plastic loom and I ran the power wires all the way along the frame. So it runs all the way along the frame. See if you can see it. It's tucked up right next to the gas tank, and then I'll take you down there and show you where it runs to, but it's not near any heat or any pinch points where it could get cut, or at least I don't think it is. So let's go take a look. It runs down from the engine bay right here. I did not want to cut these wires. I might in the future, but right now I did not. But the power wires run right down through here next to the brake lines. So no temperature right here. It's going to heat up or cause them to have issues. And then they run, like I said, you zip tied it. These are actually the connections, so if I wanted to disconnect it, I could right here. And then this plastic loom runs all the way down the frame right here. So I just zip tied it all the way down the frame. Pretty easy to run. Like I said, it's not on the side with any of the exhaust or anything, so it's not going to get any heat. But yeah, let's take a look at the engine bay real quick. Look at that beautiful 1FC. Okay, so ran it right through here. It runs up right here. I'm going to put some heat shrink on both of these so that it's cleaner and it looks better, but right now that's what we have. I'm going to get the job done tonight. So as you can see, the wires run right here. I have my 3 relays stacked right here. They're kind of just angled like 1, 2, 3, and they're bolted into the back of the basket, so I'm going to probably put something over the sharp points right there of screws. But those run all right here, and they run along this channel. So you can see they run along the channel right there, all the way down, up the way. And then we have the power wire, the ground wire going all the way down. Positive or negative. And this, like I said, was earlier in the video, was the butyl rubber that forms a really nice seal with the firewall. It's going to keep it watertight, keep it weatherproof, and stuff like that. So, as you can see, ultimately, super clean and super bright. Could not be happier with this setup. Highly recommend. If you have any questions, please let me know. This did take me a while, but I took my time and I wanted it to be perfect. And everything worked on the first go. So I found that if you take your time and do it right the first time, then you don't have to do it again. So there's some stuff I'm going to do to clean it up, but for the most part, this is it. So thanks for watching. All right, guys. So we're going to do a test real quick. Got the Baja Design Squadron Pros up front, so we're going to turn on just the driving lights, which I have amber covers on right now. Then we'll turn on the spots. We'll do one of each. So this is just normal driving lights. We've got high beams not on. So let's see what it looks like with the spots on. So these are with the spots on. So you can see, I mean, you've got a absolute spotlight right there, right in front of the truck. So I've got them pointed a little far down, so I'm going to raise them up a little bit, but you can see just a massive amount of light output. So that's just the spots. Okay, let's go to the floods, or let's go to the driving lights now with the amber covers. Okay, so just absolutely light it up. So you can see, I mean, they put out a ton of light. You'd have no problems going down the road with these on. Now, you will be blinding people with these, so just be careful. But the amber covers do make a difference, so they are going to dim it down a little bit. So now let's go these with the spots. Ton of light. Ton of light output. Looks absolutely great. So we're going to turn off both. So we'll turn the spots off. We'll turn the driving lights off. All right, so now let's go high beams. All right, so now we got our high beams on. Let's start. All right, so we got our driving lights on. So adds quite a bit. I mean, it's a lot of light. These headlights are really good. These headlight LED bulbs are really good, but as you can see, it puts out a lot of light. So now let's switch and do the spots at the same time. Ton of light. So as you can see, absolute ton of light there. Let's get out of the truck and see what it looks like. So as you can see, it's super bright. I mean, it's putting a glare on the camera where you can't even see it, but I mean, the light output is absolutely insane. Ton of light output right